I was messing around with the thing like that. Oh, hey, Instagram, it's me, T, from the Patterson's taking the train to Tibet. So now we're back on the regular schedule, I guess. The problem that I personally want to only do 3 times a week, right? These little thingies, right? Talking to you. But, every time happens, things happen, and then I want to do every day, something happening every day. However, we'll see what happens. This is a Thursday, something like that. I leave next Wednesday for India, so there'll be some lags and stuff like that, which is good. Maybe I'll go to 3 times a week, who knows. But here's what I want to say before I start with this new series, because it's a new year and all the rest of that stuff. Let me say this. I have this thing that I do when I'm talking to people and just knowing them or whatever, just meeting them or something like that. I often ask after a while, what's your through line? Through line meaning like, well, whatever they're doing now. I said, where did that come from? Was you always I'm gonna make a joke now. Was you always a psychologist when when you're 6 years old or whatever it is? Just saying, well, what's your through line? There's things that you did when you was a child that follows you through. That's all I can say. So anyway, it was just a question, just to get people talking and stuff like that. But that's a serious question. Like I realized, like a lot of people go to school for this, go to school for that, I was after I got out of foster care, I was in the, at 6 years old, and I'm finally in the Mount Haven section of the Bronx, which is where I say that's where I was made. Then I just sort of, I don't know, I don't think much. I'm just on my path. I just go. I don't plan this, I don't plan that. I get into a situation, I go all the way into that situation like that. That's what happened. Let me make it short. So I was 9 years old. I joined the Cadet Corps, right? Cadet Corps, New York City Mission Society Cadet Corps. Back there, we're talking like 1959. Okay. Things were different back then. The drugs weren't in the community then, all the rest of that stuff. Okay. So, in fact, that's when they were just letting the heroin flow into the South Bronx is like a hub area. So, and the same thing for the Lower East Side. It's areas in New York where if you use the Robert Moses kind of idea, if you use any traffic artery, you can come in and swoop right back out. So even though they was trying to confine the drugs to a small, just to the ghetto, get rid of the gangs, basically they let the drugs in so that the gangs would be dissipated, which it sort of worked to a thing. But what they didn't count on is that the drugs would be so powerful that people from other places, suburbs, would come through and so the whole drug thing started to really blow up, really in the late 70s and the 80s, because of this thing where people from suburbia can go and get their drugs, keep on going. Then when it started hitting suburbia, then they start complaining, right? When it's just killing people in the ghetto, in the hood, and they didn't care. Anyway, through that whole thing, I never really thought about anything, right? But when I joined the Cadet Corps, one thing led to another, because it's a mentorship program that you keep on going. And at some particular point, we had the Pensacola military fraternity. And so I pledged when I was like 15. Yeah, 15. I made my fraternity when I was 16 years old, which is a proper age, because the fraternity situation is like it's a coming of age kind of thing. It's like it's a coming of age kind of thing. You got to be young enough that you don't have you're not interested in the nitty gritty of life yet. You know what I mean? But old enough that you have some sense about you. So when you get to be like 17, like 18, it's too late, because you already done did whatever you did and you have your own ideas. Right? But somewhere between, I'd say 13 and 17 is a good day. It's a good age for you have these man trainings, that kind of thing. Anyway, but because of that, because I was in Cadet Corps when I was 9 years old, and we all go through, and as we're growing up, most of the people know you. So when I pledged, to Pensacola military fraternity, then what happens is everybody knows who you are. There's certain things you do. There's singing, there's all kinds of stuff, right? So most of the people, if they know me from the Cadet Corps like that. Anyway, So made the fraternity and everything like that. And one time I was walking. This was like in this was like in 1967. Yeah. So I was just walking. I should say this. I'm a loner. I'm a loner that I'm a loner that can go into any kind of situation and I'm accepted for whatever reason. Even then, I was slight kids, like 120 pounds, 5'8", nothing skinny, nothing. No, I wouldn't say non-threatening because I did grow up in the Patterson projects, and I won't get into this whole thing how I got a reputation there, and people didn't bother me because they say, this guy, we don't want to mess with this guy. Anyway, so I'm walking along Lower East Side, Avenue D, somewhere around there, and Charlie Green, one of the fraternity brother that made it, was Charlie on the second line? I think it was the second line. I was the third line. Penn School started with the first, second, and I was on the third line. Anyway, and so I had made it fraternity, just walking, and Charlie sees me and gets excited. He said, brother, Sloan, look, check this out, man. I got something. I know this is perfect for you. There's this. They're starting a theater company down there. A theater company just started down in this area. Down Lower East Side. I don't say Lower East Side because it's really, I guess you call it they call it East Village now. And look, it's 6th Street and Second Avenue. Well, 7th Street, Second Avenue. Anyway, and it said, you should contact them, write them a letter, and blah blah blah. Now you have to understand, because of the fraternity, we did a lot of things. But a ghetto kid, we don't usually write letters. But I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to the Negro Ensemble Company, which is what it was, and I got it. I'm sorry, this is backward. There's no email. You have to write a letter, put it in the mailbox, to send it, and then they would send, maybe respond to you, right, back then. Anyway, so I got a letter back. Ron Mack sends me back. He said, look, we don't have any classes right now. Nothing's opening right now, but as soon as something happens, we'll contact you. This happened sometime in like March or April, somewhere around there. And I was 16 then? Yeah, I just made it. I was 16. That's right. So I wrote this letter, and I get an answer back. Because then this is 67. So then then July came along and I turned 17. Then somewhere in there, I got an answer back. He said, we're starting a class I think it was November. Come on down. So come on down, because it's New York City. We ride the subway. I've been riding the subway long since I was 8 years old. I know the subway system in New York, backwards, forward, blah, blah, blah. This is back when we had the 15-cent tokens, like that, really little small ones, and most of the time you just jumped over it. That's bad. Don't worry about that part. So I'm going along, and I go there, and I end up being like I guess I was the second youngest person in that class. Now you had the advanced class that started with intermediate class, and then you had the resident company. Resident company, that was the big. That was had people like Rosalind Cass and Bill Moses Gunn, all kinds of people was in there. Bobby Hooks was he was a founder. Extraordinary group of people. It's just extraordinary group of people. Denise Nichols, Esther Rowe. In fact, too bad I don't have my high school yearbook because I got it signed by everybody that was in the company, which was like a list of unbelievable. Arthur French, peace and blessing to his eternal soul. All kinds of people. Michael Schultz. All kinds of people signed my little thing. Everybody signed my yearbook for graduating high school. Anyway. So I hung out there, but I was second youngest. But here's the thing: I was the only one. I think in the whole situation that actually came from the ghetto. Most of the folks, they had stable homes, or they came from whatever. You know what I mean? So I was only the true ghetto kid. Think of it like this: the movie Fame, and is it Leroy, the guy that danced, is picked up off the street, right? And he comes to that. He not cooperate. He take dance class. He don't wear no leotards. He has the sweatpants. That was me. I ain't wearing that stuff. All kinds of stuff happened when I was Negro Ensemble Company. But I learned the thing very well. So from that moment on, I just keep on moving and thinking and moving and thinking. Now it's important I'm giving that whole background to say that I'm not conscious about what I do. I just move along. But here's the one I'm thinking, that uh, there's oh, Michael G. Michael G. Haskins, beloved over at WBAI. He was we both. I was in the Vietnam era. You know, I was in the Air Force from 1970 to 1974, the height of the Vietnam, whatever it is. Uh, uh, what's the name? Haskins. He was. He was. I think he was in the Army, but he was. He went. I think he went to the Philippines. He never left the Philippines, right? So in the Vietnam, for me, you have three separate things. You have the people that were in theater, that were in country, that was in the country, right? Then you have people that were out of the states, but space stationed someplace else, like might be Germany, whatever. But they never went to Vietnam. Then you have people like me, who was a lab technician. I never left the states. I was in the states the whole time, right? Then again, you know, if I went to Vietnam, they would have to put me in an air-conditioned tent because I was a lab technician, you know. So we need refrigeration, all the rest of that stuff. And to tell you the truth, for a long time afterward, I had a little, I won't say guilt, but something in my head because I'm going like, man, I should have been in country. But then, you know, I learned about Agent Orange. If we look, any place, if you was someplace in Vietnam, you Agent Orange got to you like that. Okay, make it a little bit shorter. I'm coming to the end. So I realized that there was a different mentality for somebody who was in country, well in theater in Vietnam. Some people that weren't in the conflict directly, but then there were people like me who never left the country. Now I give you all those, and what's interesting when I talk to Michael G about this stuff, these people we have different mentalities. We have different mentalities, and this is what it irks me about something like, say the VA, whatever happened, or whatever happened with the military. They have an answer, and it extends to everybody. It doesn't make any sense for me. Like the folks who was in country, and the most dangerous job was actually what we call the tunnel rats. These are the guys that would have to go down into the Vietnam. The tunnels would be booby trapped. They had to go down there and booby trap, whatever it is. Right? That was the most dangerous job. So consequently, like I get VA. I'm in with the VA, whatever have you. To me, those people should be treated specially. They should get all kinds of things. They should get whatever, because there's not a lot of them left anymore. Because not only did they do the hardest job, and they were in country, but it was the most dangerous. So when everything is over, why should the person who put their life more online, you know, get less? Well, get the same as me, who I'm sitting in the air. Well, I'm doing all kinds of things at McGuire dispensary. I mean, you know, I'm starting organizations, Black Power organizations. I'm doing all kinds of things. You know, in fact. People say to me these days, well, thank you for your service. They do that a lot, especially when I'm in Virginia. Thank you for your service, you know. And I'm going like, they don't know what they're thanking me for, because basically the program that the Black Panthers had, I was instituting that in the Air Force like that, you know. Anyway, but the point is, so there's different people. Now, let me bring it all together. For me, like I said, I grew up in the South Bronx. It was very different and special, because in the Patterson projects, it was they put it together such that the projects were supposed to be just a way station to go on to the next level. But then everybody started, they ghettoized it. And so if you was you became, well, they would just they would make it more ghetto. The ghetto became ghetto because people wouldn't advance, because I don't know why they wouldn't advance. But if you grew up like I grew up, so my next door neighbors, when Patterson Project at the time was totally integrated. So, for instance, the projects have different sections. You know, well, you know, say if we was in a 6-story building, so a 6-story building like that, you have an elevator in the middle. On one side, if you split the building, you have one side, you have 3 apartments. And they were sizable because of bigger families. And then the other side, they maybe have five apartments, and they go for six levels. Okay. If in South Bronx, like I said, the Patterson Project, we were totally integrated. So my next door neighbors were the Laxines. They were actually white. And next door to them in our section was the Puerto Rican family, the Garcias, right? So so in my reality, I grew up since I was 6, very young age, with a totally integrated kind of situation. Well, integrated at the time because you don't have black, white, Puerto Rican. That's all we had there. Well, Dominicans slipped in there under the Puerto Ricans, but we just call them Spanish anyway. Black, white, Spanish, right? Now, you growing up in that reality is different than you grew up in an all-black reality, or for that matter, in an all-white. If you're a black person growing up in an all-white reality, when you come back and when you start viewing the world when you're older, you view it differently according to your background. So I don't have any, I have little problems with like white people because I'm like, they just white. I grew up with these people. Next door neighbors white. In fact, I don't have the picture, but Marlene was in my, we're the same age, you know, in all my classes, you know, 3rd grade, 4th grade, get class pictures like that. And so what I'm looking at these days, when people make this whole thing about white and black, I understand it. I'm not really rocking with it like that, but I understand it. I don't make a big deal of it. But what I do, and because I travel so much, I don't look at people's race. Don't get me wrong, I do look at people's race, but I don't really look. It depends on what the circumstance is. I'm looking for comrades. I'm looking for fellow fighters. I'm looking for fellow warriors. And inevitably, I'm telling you, wherever I go on the planet, I'm walking down the street, I can recognize somebody that could be a warrior. You know, wherever I am. Like right now, hey, Ron, the cat right now that's joining us from India. Wait, salute, brother. Young cat, whatever have you, and very dynamic. Right? To me, he's of my tribe. I can see where he's a warrior. You see? Where there's a lot of, he's Indian, you know, with the dot, not the feathers. Yeah, I can tell. You can almost tell if you're centered in your thing. You can tell where your allies are, where your fellow warriors are. Which brings me to my big point, which is why I don't look for big groups. I don't want to join big groups. Well, I have been part of organizations, whatever have it. But I'm one of those people. I'm looking for special forces. 1 or 2 people is all I need, and we do stuff and get them going. So if I'm talking to you, you know, like I give you this model I got from. Well, I do have an undergraduate degree in communications. One of the things you say, like it's like communications or the media. It's like a fork, or like, you know, like a prong, and then a stem, and then 5 whatever prongs, right? And so your main information is right here. And that main information you share with, say, 5 other people. Then they go and share with 5 other people. So you don't have to talk to 25,000 people or 1 million people, whatever have you. You just need the dedicated 5 or 3, I like 3, it's a better number, 3 people that's going to institute what you need to get institute and get it done. I'm going to tell you this because when I was in Air Force, I started this group. I co-founded this group called the Black Caucus, and we in the Air Force. And what happened was, the group was pretty big, but there was only few of us who were like architecting the group, you know, guiding the group like that. They would listen to us. I'm not much of a like, but anyway. So that's what that's what they do. In every situation I've been in, I realize that 2 or 3 people, that's all I need. Even right now, you know, I got slowly up there in DeBrother. That's about all I need, you know. And so what I'm trying to say is that for the next few, everybody, stop trying to. I know everybody. You're on the internet. You got to get your numbers up, whatever. I'm not into the numbers. Then I don't ask for shares, likes. I don't want you to do anything like that. But like I said, I got my 1, 2, or 3 people that we're doing what we need to do. We do. That's it, right? So I tell you all to say, I'm looking at this stuff and I'm saying that everybody that comes, people they come from all black section, or they want to be more black than black. They want to be more racist than racist. They want to be, everybody got their little thing. And unless you get out into the world and you start, you know, interacting with real people and understanding that things are not racial as much, they're more tribal, to tell you the truth. You know, and my tribe, again, are the liberators, you know what I mean? So wherever I go, whatever culture I'm in, I will find the person that can liberate that culture. That's what I look for. That's what I do. And that's what I'll continue to do. And this is going to be an interesting year. Setting everything up, there's going to be things happening, and that's it. So, Ron, look, hey, yo, man, I want to beat it. I've traveled next Wednesday. I think I get you all on, I guess it's going to be that Wednesday. Look, don't worry. Tell them have my room ready. I'm ready. Y'all better don't be messing with me, man. This is my healing. My healing place. This is my healing room. You know what I mean? So I got a lot to do. I'll be there for like, what, January, February, March, at least 3 months, April, maybe 4 months. And we'll see what happens. Anyway, so in that 3 months, I got stuff to do. Continue my healing. We have martial arts class. Guess I got to take martial arts again. What can I? And there's be other things I need to do with the young folks. Maybe start an audio drama unit there and see what they do. Blah blah blah. But I have a lot of plans for these 4, maybe more months. All right. Okay. So that's it. Just want to tell you that today. As we get going, you'll see what's happening. But just remember, you're all who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with a bunch of racialists, you're going to be a racialist. With a bunch of warriors, you're going to be a warrior. If you're going to surround yourself with some special forces, then we're going to get things done. Okay? See you all later.